Hello everyone, and I hope it's not too late to wish Selamat Hari Raya. How's everyone doing? I'm Nadia, and I will be your moderator for today. While we wait for others to join, allow me to explain a bit about the platform. You can start by introducing yourself in the chat panel below, and you can also send a question while presenter is presenting. You do not need to wait till the end of the session to post a question. Before you submit your question, click on the icon next to the chat mode to change it to Q&A mode. Pretty easy, right? There is a reconnect button at the top of your screen. If you're having any connectivity problem, you can click on the red button and reconnect and join us back. All right, let's begin with the good news. The long wait is over. We are now able to organize events, be it a conference, seminar, workshop, or even meeting with less than 250 pack and subject to your room size. The introduction of SME Digitalisation Grant couldn't have come to on the right time. This grant will surely encourage more local businesses to move rapidly into technology sphere and finally conduct events that we all been waiting for months. Which bring us to the topic for today, SME Digitalisation Grant with Evenesis. We have been appointed as one of the TSP, Technology Solution Provider, to support the SME businesses. This matching grant will be worth 500 million over 5 years, limited to the 100,000 SMEs applying to upgrade their system. Sounds good? The session is divided into two parts. The first half is a highlight on Evenesis features and services that can be utilized for the grant. And the second half is on the SME grant. We will cover on the eligibility, the application process, and where to apply. Finally, we will move on to the Q&A session. Before I introduce the two lovely presenters, I would like to invite all of you to participate in the polling. First question, what do you know about SME Digitalisation Grant? Okay guys, take your vote now. All right, 10 seconds left. All right, thank you for your vote. And the vote now, all right. Okay, we're moving on to the next question, which is, what type of event are you planning to organize in the coming month? Please vote now. All right, 5 more seconds to go before I end before me moving on to the last question. All right, thank you. And lastly, when are you planning to organize your next event? All right. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Thank you everyone for participating in the poll. All right. In conclusion, we can see that everyone is really eager to organize event, be it in hybrid or virtual. These past months, we have seen companies who are struggling to stay afloat, and we have seen many companies who were not ready to throw in the towel. So much resilience and spirit by individuals and companies. I'm so proud to be Malaysian. All right. Without further ado, let's invite our presenter for today. We have Ms. Nazreen Kamsol, who has been with us for more than a year. Prior to joining Evenesis, she was a project coordinator in Irolamba for 2 years. Our second presenter is Ms. Jenny Cat. She's our head of sale and marketing department. She's been with Evenesis for 4 years and involved directly with lots of big events such as Malaysia Urban Forum 2019, Selangor Investment Business Summit 2019, Malaysia Tech Week, Malaysia FinTech Week, and Singapore MICE Forum, and lots more. Okay. The session will be for 30 to 35 minutes, and we will have a Q&A session for 15 minutes. As mentioned earlier, if you wish to submit your question, please click on the icon next to chat mode to change it to Q&A mode. Ms. Nazreen will be presenting on Evenesis features and services. Over to you, Nazreen.
Hi everyone, my name is Nazreen and I am the sales executive in Evenesis. So today I will be talking about the list of services provided by Evenesis that can be utilized for the SME Digitalisation Grant. Okay, let me share the slides. Okay, so before I start, okay, so this girl right here, this caricature, it's actually me. Let me know if you look the same. So it's been a great 1-year journey here with Evenesis. I have a great team. It's a great company. We've grown so much for the past 10 years. I could go on for minutes to talk about the journey of Evenesis, but let's not forget our main objective here. So probably a little intro on Evenesis. We are in our 10th year, just celebrated our 10th year anniversary right before MCO started. Now everyone might think, what a bad start for the first decade, just because COVID is inevitable. But if you're seeing it in the right angle, there are just many opportunities to be grabbed, especially now that we are appointed as one of the technical solution provider, the TSP. It is definitely a great opportunity to be grabbed by every SMEs. Yes, I am talking to each and every one of you here. With that being said, let's move on to our list of services that you can purchase from us. Okay, so these are the list of services and products that can assist you in managing your virtual or physical, even hybrid events. All these services listed here can be claimed for your SME Digitalisation Grant. I'll be bringing you for a walkthrough on each and every features here so you can see which fits best for your next event. So we will start off with Evenesis itself. So Evenesis is the name of our product, the registration system. I'm sure all of you recognize either one of these first two here, the RSVP and the online registration. Either way, you'll receive a confirmation email to confirm your participation. So this is the usual flow that the attendees will go through, and it is definitely a fast and seamless experience. Okay. On top of the confirmation email that everyone have received after the confirmation of participation, prior to the event, we have sent out a couple email reminders. A day before event, I think you have also received an email just an hour before this webinar. So it's a great tool to engage with your attendees in informing them about any updates at all. You can also manage your database and track how many is attending or is not attending. So all of this that I have explained is just within one platform. It's a 360 solution from pre-event up till post-event. So next, moving on to check-ins. So check-ins are used during physical or hybrid events. Some of you might have heard yesterday that the government has released a new SOPs for the ones organizing events, and a digitalized check-in is definitely the way to go. So the first method is the mobile check-in. If you're looking for a paperless check-in, this is it. Many have experienced QR scanning when entering malls now. Well, it is the new normal. No more writing down names with the pen provided that has been touched by God knows how many people. Okay. Now this is on-site printing. You can either QR scan your ticket and collect badges, or go the extra mile and scan your face in order to get your badges. Both methods are contactless, just what we need in this COVID era. So next, we also built customized mobile apps. You can design the skin according to your event theme. This also promotes paperless event, no more thick and heavy agenda books to distribute on the day. And the worst problem we've always encountered is running out of them on the day of event. So some of the attendees tend to not receive these heavy agenda books. So why not resort to this? Everything is at your fingertips, from searching to agenda and the attendees, the speakers, everything within one reach. Now, if you are looking for a platform to display all necessary information, but without having to download anything, then we have great news. We'll develop a whole new website for you. Everything can be customized. You just have to send us your requirements. Okay, so by now, I'm sure everyone knows what polling and Q&A is. Similar to what you guys participated in earlier with Nadia, as well as the question button in the chat box. This is also another service that can be claimed for the grant. Business matching is an online networking where you are able to e-meet people and book their time for some discussion. Some of you might have already experienced and used this platform during the physical conference and exhibitions. So it is applicable for both virtual and physical events. So Evelet is our lead tracking app. It's built for exhibitors who are exhibiting in exhibitions. I know it's a tongue tie, but you get what I mean. This app can also be used for contact tracing, where it is basically the same mechanism, scanning QR to obtain details of visitors. This will also reduce any data entry, so no more manual errors. All right, so next, as mentioned earlier, we now have the green light to run events with up to 250 packs. So if you are looking for a mix of virtual and physical events, let us know so we can assist you on the requirements and checklist. Now, for those who have already purchased any virtual platforms out there, we are able to integrate Evenesis using Zapier. So these are some of the integrations that we have done, but we are also open to explore other platforms out there. Integrations are usually done to promote seamless experience for the attendees, so do reach out to us to know more. Online webinars. I think by now everyone knows what webinar is. Everything that you are experiencing right now in this webinar jam platform is also another service we provide. So I think everyone knows what online webinar is. All right. So moving on to virtual conference. Now for clients who are looking for a conference style kind of platform, and since it is slightly different than a physical conference, we are here to assist you. This here is a screenshot of a virtual conference where the delegates are able to move around and network around. And on the right side, the picture on the right side is when the conference mode is turned on. So basically, if you are networking, they will be bringing you right straight to the conference session. Okay, so for virtual exhibitions usually cater to a mass scale of visitors. Move to virtual and you need not worry about social distancing between your exhibitors and visitors. You can customize the 3D booth, virtual brochures or videos, sponsors, banners, almost everything a physical exhibition have, a virtual exhibition can too. So to conclude, these are all the packages and services that you can claim for the digitalization grant. We look forward to your inquiries at the end of the session, and please stay tuned for the SME Digitalization Grant portion by Jenny. Over to you, Nadia.
All right. Thanks, Nazrin. Now, let's listen to Jenny's presentation on SME grant. Jenny, are you ready?
Hi, everyone.
Okay, over to you, Jenny.
I hope everyone's having a really good afternoon. Okay, so just let me get started on the presentation. All right, so I'm going to be covering a little bit more about the SME Digitalization Grant benefits and what does it actually cover. So firstly, I'd like to introduce the grant itself. It is actually an initiative that is being undertaken by MDEC, BSN, and also SME Bank. So it's a joint effort between these three organizations to actually help SME increase the adoption of digital solutions into their businesses. So this is actually what you're seeing on your screen right now is actually the 5 pillars, the 5 areas that is currently being targeted. So you are actually able to apply the grant to all these 5 different aspects. So Evenesis actually falls under the digital marketing / sales portion. Okay, so how we actually come in is that we actually provide you the option to actually claim back a small portion of the cost to actually adopt digital solutions when it comes to virtual meetings, virtual events, services that comes with all of this too. So all of this are basically available from Evenesis at this moment. At the same time, if you also like to explore applying electronic post, e-post system, HR payroll system, procurement, and also ERP to your SME, you can too. Okay, so there is one catch, is that on a per company basis, you are only able to apply for one loan per area. So it doesn't mean that, let's say you have already claimed for digital marketing, you are not able to claim for the rest. You are able to also claim for digital marketing, one company. You are able to claim also for e-post, one time. You are also able to apply for HR payroll system another time. So basically, for each of the 5 pillars that you're currently looking at, the 5 areas, you are each able to apply one for each area. So I hope that is actually clear. Okay. Next, I'm going to touch a little bit about what the SME Digitalization Grant actually entails. Okay, so for all the SME who wishes to actually apply for this, you will be entitled to claim 50% of the invoice amount or up to a maximum of 5,000 ringgit. So that's how it actually works. But of course, you have to be basically a recognized SME within Malaysia itself. And there are certain eligibility criteria that you must hit in order to be eligible for this grant. And we're going to touch on that next. Okay, so who can actually apply for this grant, right? So here are actually 5 main points that you must take note of. These are basically the main 5 criteria that you must comply in order to actually be able to claim. Okay, so you must be obviously an SME that's incorporated in Malaysia. That one comes without saying. And then you must be at least 60% owned by a Malaysian. And then the SME must be in operation for at least a year. So how do you actually know, or how do you actually prove, is that you must show a proof of your entire year's activities, be it sales turnover, management accounts, all of these kind of documentation have to be in place. So for the SME, when it comes to a minimal turnover, there is a threshold that you must hit to. So if you are only an SME of 1 year, or basically it has to be 1 year. So 1 year to not yet hit 2 years, you have to already have a minimum annual sales turnover of 100,000. And if you're 2 years and above, you must show an annual turnover of 50,000 and above. Okay, so these are the 5 main areas that you must take note of in order to actually qualify for the SME Digitalization Grant. Okay, so next we're going to cover a little bit about how to apply and who you can actually apply with. So as I've covered a little bit earlier just now, this grant is actually an initiative by MDEC, BSN and SME Bank. So I think one of the best people to actually go to should be BSN. So you can actually look up a little bit more information on their website too. It's available, and these are some of the details that you must prepare before you actually go for the application. So number one, there is an application form that you must have before you actually are able to apply, and this is available on both our website and also BSN's website too. And you must obviously prepare the identification cards of all the company shareholders, the directors, the partners, basically everybody who is in charge or has a decision-making factor in the SME. So they have to show their identification card. They will also have to prepare all the list of company business registration licenses. So that comes and includes your Form 9, your all of your MOF cert, if you have it, and SSM, M&A, all of those regular business documentation, have it with you, because those are definitely required. And as I mentioned earlier, you will need to show proof of your company's activity. So that comes without saying that you have to show proof of either your audited accounts or a management account at least, especially for companies who have just hit 1 year. And as we understand that due to the current situation, some companies' audited accounts might be lesser, might come out a little bit later, right? So management account can still be considered, but obviously it will come with more stricter questions and I would say follow-up questions from BSN too. You would also need to provide a bank statement for at least the past 2 months. This is actually to support your company's activities, of course. Also submit your company profile, what your company is exactly about, and it has to come together with the invoice and billing / service agreement from appointed and authorized vendor like Evenesis. So for example, if you are actually currently planning to have or host a virtual event or virtual exhibition, so we will basically provide you with an invoice, and this has to be attached along with your application too. And if PSN were to request for any additional documentation, obviously you will also be liable to actually provide all of those documentation to them. And just to clarify is that the application has to come from the point of the SME. As we are only the appointed and authorized vendors, we can guide you. We are able to actually provide you the service of guiding you along the way. However, the application has to come from the aspect and from the side of the SME. Okay, so this is actually the link for the digitalization grant, and you can also currently scan the QR code for more information on our website too. So I'm just gonna leave this for a few seconds for all of you to actually scan and to get the information. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it for another 5 seconds. Okay, so I've basically come and covered the brief overview of the SME Digitalization Grant. And basically right now, next, what I like to do is to cover a little bit more about what was actually announced yesterday. So I'm sure that for a lot of event organizers, it's a really exciting and finally some good news after months of waiting. I'm sure everybody have been super anxious, waiting for this, waiting for somebody to actually tell them how they can actually move forward. So I'll just like to touch a little bit about what the new SOP is actually all about. Okay, so I've basically managed to summarize these 7 points. These basically are the major guidelines that all event organizers should be, I would say, aware of on the upcoming event organization and upcoming events that you currently have. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly go through, but you can always look up all of this also on MKN's website, as they have already posted out a full guideline and SOP on how and what event organizers or anybody who wants to actually have meetings, AGMs, all of these events have to follow. Okay, so the first two points, it's no stranger to everyone, as we are already currently in that situation where if an attendee actually shows any symptom of sickness, including cough, fever, and all of any other symptom, so they are definitely not allowed. So this should be already screened at the entrance door, and all crews, your event organizing team is definitely encouraged to wear face masks. They wrote that encourage. They didn't say it's a must, but obviously I think the best practice is to wear it, because better safe than sorry. The third point is there is a cap of 250 packs per event. And obviously this is also depending on your event space too, because you do have to comply to the minimal social distancing rule as well. So even though they say that there is maximum packs of 250, but at the same time, you also need to be aware of your event space, of how big or where you exactly host your event, in order to ensure that you're able to comply to the other social distancing rule as well. So at the door, at the entrance, all of your attendees are required to actually scan through the MySejahtera app. So this is definitely a compulsory, and this step is actually on top of the event registration, our normal event registration step that we'll definitely also conduct. Currently, we're definitely in Evenesis right now, we're actually exploring if we are actually able to somehow combine the possibility of combining the registration through MySejahtera app and also on our platform, to ensure that it's a more seamless process. Okay, and then the fifth point is that there is a minimum social distancing requirement of 1 meters apart. So all of the seats and all of the setting, basically you have to ensure that everybody will be 1 meter apart. So that is actually something really important, and it is honestly not a very easy SOP for event organizers to actually conduct, because at events we have a tendency and we have a habit of going close to each other. So that's the whole reason why we even go to event, which is to meet people. So but this is something very important for event organizers to actually look into. Okay, and on the food and beverage side, only pre-packed foods are allowed. So you can't have the buffet style kind of setting. Everything has to be pre-packed and handed and just picked up along with all of the social distancing requirements and guidelines as too. And the last one is something to take note of as well. They actually specifically also highlight that you have to limit the number of people allowed in the washroom all at one time, which I think complies with the earlier requirement of not having too many people within a confined space, and to ensure that there is a minimal social distancing requirement maintained between everyone else. So this is something that I guess event organizers have to take note of, because now you need to deploy somebody extra to actually handle the maximum number of people, even going to the toilet. I think it would also apply similarly to all of the different room sizes too. So meaning all of your different room sizes, now you actually need to measure and ensure that by complying with the 1 meter apart social distancing requirement, how many maximum number of packs that you can actually fit inside per room. And well, you need to actually deploy somebody to actually take care of that number too. So I think I've basically covered and have come to the end of my presentation. Back to you, Nadia.
All right. Thank you, Jenny. Okay. Now let's start our Q&A session. Let's start with the first question. All right. Okay. The first question from Aida. Is this webinar recorded and can registrant rewatch? Yes. This webinar is being recorded and we will upload in YouTube and share with all the registrant later by next week. Okay. Thank you, Aida. So next question from Fazli. The website is a microsite. Nazrin, this question is to you.
Okay, so website and microsite is two different things. So a microsite is basically the platform where we collect information regarding the attendees. So microsite is distinct from website. Website is more like a creation for your event, mostly.
Okay.
I hope that answers.
I think I can add on a little bit more because under Evenesis, we have also launched our new version. We are prepared to actually launch a new version already. Our event, I guess you can call it the Evenesis 2.0. So under the new version of Evenesis, you have more design options to actually play around with the design of your microsite. So having said that, even though it is a simple microsite, but you can make it look very professional for your events, registration for your classes, for your courses. So if you're interested, you can always contact us and we can always do a virtual demo, a virtual walkthrough with you and let you have a look at what our microsite and our system actually entails.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Jenny. All right, next question from Ricky Liu. I have already applied the grant for another system. Can I apply for the second one? Jenny, would you like to answer this question?
Okay, I think I've mentioned it a little bit earlier. So it depends on which area that you've already applied for. So for example, if you have already applied, for example, if you've already used your benefit under the digitalization grant to purchase an e-post system, for example, but because Evenesis is actually under digital marketing / sales, so it doesn't clash. So you will still be able to purchase Evenesis and also be entitled for that grant too. So it really depends on which area you have already referred to. So you can always share with us which area that you have already used your benefit and maybe we can advise you further on that.
All right, thank you, Jenny. Next question from Fazli too. How about the security of the database? Nazrin?
Okay, so for the database question, we are actually GDPR and PDPA compliance. So you need not worry about the database because we will not have any basically power over it. The database will be for the organizers themselves.
All right, thank you, Nazrin. Okay. Moving on to next question. Can association can apply for the grant? Jenny?
Okay, as I've also mentioned a little bit earlier, unfortunately, this actually only applies for SME. But I believe that, you know, a lot of associations is actually made up of a lot of SMEs. So maybe I can suggest you work with one of your members to actually be able to enjoy this. So you can consider that is something viable for you.
All right, thank you, Jenny. Next question from Ricky Liu. Can we customize the Evenesis registration UI to match our brand? Okay, Nazrin, would you like to answer?
Sorry, can I customize the Evenesis registration to match our brand? So basically, the microsite, you are able to, like Jenny have mentioned earlier, the Evenesis 2.0, You have more designs that you can create on your microsite. So according to your theme, the colors and whatnot, you can do some customizations to it.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Next question from Fazli. Is the company director / shareholders must go to the bank to submit? Jenny?
Okay, they did not specify who can submit. So I think you are able to actually get your staff to actually do it. But when it comes to the application forms and the documents is what that you actually have to, you have to prepare it beforehand, I would say. But in terms of whether the company director / shareholder actually have to go there, at this point in time, they did not state it, but we can always get back to you. You can always just, drop us a note. I can always get double check on that and get back to you later.
Okay, next question. If I subscribe to Evenesis, how soon can I use your service? Immediately or until approval? Nazrin?
If you subscribe to Evenesis, yes, of course, you can use our service immediately. But regarding the TSP, I think Jenny can explain further regarding the TSP part.
Okay, so if let's say you were to subscribe to Evenesis today, right? What happens is we will definitely require a minimum of 50% down payment before you're actually able to access the system at this point in time. So the other 50% that you are planning to actually undergo to actually utilize the grant benefits, right? That one, we understand that there is an application process which we can work with you along that. But do take note that the application is subject to approval too. And there is a limited slot available for the number of companies that can apply. So if you're really interested, you should actually contact us as soon as possible to actually, kickstart the process.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you, Jenny. Okay, one last question from Clarice. You listed 5 areas or type services which we can claim, 50% or max 5,000. Can you advise who are the service providers / authorized vendors, or it is just Evenesis? Jenny?
It's definitely not just in Evenesis. There is actually a whole list of vendors under the different aspect, as I mentioned, because we are only under the digital sales / marketing aspect area, right? So there are other vendors under different areas too. But as for the virtual event services, we are currently, the last time I checked, we were the only vendors actually approved for this service, specifically for virtual events, virtual meetings.
All right. Thank you, Jenny. This will be the last question for today. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for taking your time out of your busy schedule to join our webinar. Please drop us an email to contact us at evenesis.com if you wish to know more about our services and the grant. We are happy to assist you in whichever way is possible. You will receive a copy of this presentation and the webinar recording by next Monday. Lastly, from all of us in Evenesis, we would like to thank you again for your time. We wish you all the best. We would like to end our session with a cute video that is applicable during this time. Do check it out. Okay, thank you, everyone.